This adventurous story begins deep beneath the sea level, showing us a base where several scientists are conducting experiments on the ocean floor. These scientists work for a private organization that has assigned them the mission to research unique things found on the ocean surface within a month. They must share all their reports with the private organization as soon as possible, within 30 days. Thus, their mission continues to progress. The scientists are equipped with very advanced weapons and machines that work well underwater. We are introduced to 3 scientists named Willie, Dehez, and Saturn. They are continuously collecting soil samples from the ocean floor and exploring the local wildlife. They believe that strange aquatic creatures live beneath the ocean floor, and they have even discovered some fish that have not been previously identified. The 3 scientists are engrossed in their experiments, but as time passes, they start preparing to return to their base. Saturn notices a peculiar small creature on the walls of the base camp, which he finds quite interesting. Without informing anyone, he decides to keep it for himself. Meanwhile, we see Dehez, whose suit's oxygen levels are dangerously low, causing him significant breathing problems. The captain of the base, named Back, is monitoring these conditions and receives an alert about Dehez's oxygen system running out. The captain learns of the issue and goes to call the doctor responsible for controlling these situations. However, despite repeated calls, the doctor does not arrive and is found in another room of the base. As it becomes an emergency, Captain Back takes control of the situation himself. They were trying to get Dehez's suit's oxygen levels back to normal. Although they pressed several buttons, they were struggling because it was outside their expertise. However, after much effort, they managed to normalize the oxygen levels, saving Dehez's life. Soon, the other 2 scientists brought Dehez back to the base camp in any way they could. Captain Back was trying to help Dehez when it was discovered that while he was breathing, he was completely unconscious. Dehez was quickly removed from his suit and sent to rest. The scientists had completed more than half of their work, and Captain Back addressed everyone, saying that they had a few days left to finish the research before they would leave the base camp and return to the surface. The members were very happy to hear this, as they had been in the base camp for so long that they missed the surface and their families greatly. Shortly after, the doctor arrived at the site. Captain Back was scolding the doctors for being absent when they were needed most. The doctor questioned what had happened in his absence, and Captain Back explained that Dehez's suit's oxygen levels had dropped significantly. If they hadn't managed to normalize the oxygen levels, Dehez could have lost his life. The doctor responded that he had arrived in time and that Dehez was safe, and he decided to file a complaint against his senior for the oversight. Meanwhile, everyone was busy with their tasks. A scientist named Bailey was performing quality checks on the suits they wore when going outside. During the investigation, Bailey noticed some strange movement inside one of the suits. As she slowly opened the suit, a small spider-like creature emerged and began to flee. This was the same small creature that Saturn had secretly kept inside his suit. Although the creature was small, it was making every effort to attack Bailey. Bailey managed to crush and kill the small creature. After reviewing the CCTV footage, she discovered that Saturn was responsible for this. Concerned that this could become dangerous, she tried to inform her captain and seniors about the situation. We then see Captain Back speaking continuously with a head member of the private organization. The member was a woman whose voice resembled an AI robot. She repeatedly asked Captain Back about the progress of their mission and whether they had found anything important. Captain Back simply reported that aside from golden pearls, they had not found any other premium items. However, the member insisted that Captain Back must find something important before they could complete their submission and return to the surface. Captain Back struggled to understand what she meant by important thing, but decided to stop thinking about it for the moment. Later, as the team was preparing for dinner, there was a significant disturbance in the water. A storm began to brew, causing their base to shake violently. Several systems in their base were damaged and needed immediate maintenance, or the situation would worsen, making their stay increasingly difficult. After a while, when things seemed to settle down, a member named Brigade remarked that only a few days remained before they could leave and return to their normal lives. However, Captain Back knew this would not be the case. When the research was initially assigned, the main objective was to study and discover unique aquatic creatures. But after speaking with his senior, Captain Back learned that they were not sent for research but to find a hidden treasure that could be very valuable. Captain Back began to realize that they would not be able to leave until they found the treasure, but he did not share this with anyone to avoid causing panic among the team. Later, Bailey and Saturn are shown collecting rock samples from the water. They venture farther away from their base to gather samples. However, a storm similar to the one before starts to brew again, and the water flow becomes so strong that Saturn loses control and is carried away. He ends up far from the base, unable to return due to the strong current. Bailey, meanwhile, tries to inform everyone at the base about the situation and seeks their help. Bailey gradually moves towards an unknown area with large trees and plants. The camera on Bailey's suit allows the scientists at the base to monitor her activities. Suddenly, Bailey travels to a large ship. The scientists at the base identify it as a Russian ship that had sunk here during a battle some time ago. Captain Back is suspicious, as this might be a Russian trap to ensnare them, especially since this territory was Russian territory. Bailey cautiously enters the large ship, where she finds numerous human skeletons, which frightens her greatly. As she is about to leave, she encounters Saturn, who is holding a small box. Bailey helps Saturn bring the box back to the base. They safely return to the base and open the box, discovering several books and maps inside that might provide information about something significant. When Saturn opens the box, he also finds a small bottle of drink and secretly keeps it hidden from everyone. Saturn, who was accustomed to drinking, had refrained from doing so since the mission began. He kept the bottle of drink he found a secret, wanting to enjoy it alone. Captain Back and the doctor reported these matters to their senior, inquiring about the presence and sinking of the Russian ship. However, the senior did not provide any clear answers but instructed that the entire team should explore the Russian ship for unique findings and bring them back. Captain Back understood this, but when he requested to call the senior after the mission's completion, the senior's call was disconnected. It became clear to Back that they would not be able to return home until the mission was completed. Saturn, meanwhile, began drinking from the bottle he found in the box. He enjoyed the drink immensely and even offered some to Brigade, who also took a sip. Everything seemed normal for a few days, but then Saturn's health began to deteriorate significantly. He became so ill that he couldn't join the other scientists on their research trips. When Saturn visited the doctor noticed strange marks on his neck. The doctor examined a few cells from Saturn's neck and discovered that he was infected with a peculiar virus that consumed its host from within. Although the doctor administered an antidote, Saturn's condition worsened over the hours, with spots appearing all over his body and his skin changing in a disturbing manner. Captain Back became very strict upon learning of Saturn's condition. He decided to check all the members to determine who else might be affected by the virus. At this point, Brigade's condition also started to decline. Since Brigade had also consumed the unknown drink offered by Saturn, her entire body began to burn, and she started experiencing severe vomiting. Following Captain Back's instructions, the doctor began checking all the members for the virus. Most of the checks came back positive, but Brigade's checkup was still pending. She had rushed to the restroom, and when the doctor approached her, Captain Back pulled him away, meaning Brigade's condition had not yet been assessed, despite her being affected. Captain Back and the doctor connected with their senior members to report that an unknown virus had spread in their base, severely affecting Saturn's condition. Meanwhile, Brigade, who was vomiting blood, was taken by Bailey to the doctor's room as soon as he finished a meeting. Brigade was in intense pain, and marks were appearing on her body. Bailey rushed Brigade to the room where Saturn's body was kept. Upon seeing Saturn, she noticed that his body had begun to decompose on its own. Saturn had already died in a horrific manner. This terrifying sight caused Brigade to scream loudly and flee, but she died at that very spot for an unknown reason. With two team members now dead, Saturn and Brigade, their bodies were placed together. Captain Back, the doctor, and the remaining members had to figure out a solution quickly or risk more deaths. Shortly after, Captain Back, the doctor, and the others arrived at the bodies and discovered that Saturn and Brigade's bodies had merged into a single entity. This new, dangerous creature had come to life and began attacking everyone in sight. The remaining members, along with the doctor, frantically tried to kill the creature, which was now attacking everyone around them. They threw the creature out of the base, but they didn't realize that a small part of it was still inside the base. The doctor had sustained significant injuries and was confused about how this had happened. Everyone was starting to understand that this might be the reason why the Russian ship sank. Captain Back and Dehas went to investigate Saturn's belongings to understand what had happened. They found the small, empty bottle of drink, which had been on the Russian ship. They realized that Saturn and Brigade had consumed the drink, which caused their bodies to merge and transform into a dangerous creature. The team knew they had to prepare to leave the base as soon as possible. Captain Back continued to speak with his senior members. Meanwhile, Dehas went to the kitchen to get something to eat. As he opened the door, a small creature, a fragment of the larger creature, attacked him. This creature was still inside the base. It immediately attacked Dehas, gnawing on his body with its sharp teeth. In no time, the creature entered Dehas's body and began killing him. Justin, another team member, came into the kitchen and saw what was happening. He tried to help Dejas, but the situation was so dire that he couldn't manage it alone and went to get the others. Captain Back, the doctor, and several others arrived to rescue Dejas, but it was too late. The small creature had already killed Dejas and disappeared. Realizing that the creature was still in the base camp, the doctor instructed everyone to arm themselves and to kill the creature on sight. The team scattered to find it. Bob, another member, was advancing with his gun when suddenly one of the creature's large tentacles grabbed his leg. The creature pulled and slashed at Bob's leg, causing severe damage. But the doctor arrived in time and cut the creature's tentacle, saving Bob's life. They moved Bob to safety. Captain Back had fully realized that the creature was not going to die easily. As it continued to consume humans, its size grew significantly, and it was also destroying many systems in their base camp. Eliminating the creature became crucial, otherwise, no one would survive. After much deliberation, Captain Back and Justin decided to trap the creature. They first took some of their own blood and placed it in a chamber, planning to trap the creature inside this room. While the plan was progressing well, the doctor discovered that Bob, who had been bitten by the creature, was also affected and could transform into a creature himself. Since the doctor didn't have an antidote, he decided that killing Bob was the only option. As the doctor approached Bob, the creature emerged from Bob's body, wounding and infecting the doctor. Now, the doctor had no choice but to become a dangerous creature himself. Meanwhile, the large creature, which had grown significantly in size, was following the blood trail left by Captain Back and Justin towards the chamber. However, it encountered Bailey along the way, who started screaming loudly. The creature began to pursue Bailey instead of heading directly to the chamber. Bailey was running very fast, but at the right moment, Captain Back and Justin caught her and instructed her to hide quietly because their plan was to trap the creature. Now, the doctor had fully transformed into a creature, and his entire body was deteriorating. Captain Back and Bailey, along with Justin, reached the control room where the security of the entire base camp was managed. Captain Back quickly contacted his senior and tried to explain the situation. He pleaded for a rescue, warning that no one would survive if they stayed. However, the senior members didn't respond adequately and left them in the base camp. Captain Back was furious and decided that they needed to kill the creature to escape. After careful consideration, he activated the base camp's self-destruction mode, as it was the only option to eliminate the creature. If the creature made it to the human world, it would continue to grow by consuming people, posing a significant threat. Captain Back and his team planned to kill the creature and escape. They put on suits to prepare for their exit. However, the large creature, using its long tentacles, began attacking everyone and separated them. The creature then targeted Bailey. Terrified, Bailey couldn't move, but Captain Back assisted her, allowing them to escape. It became clear that the creature's body now included the doctor and Bob, who had merged with it. The creature had the ability to combine any living being it killed into its own body. Captain Back managed to reach the control room where the suits were stored. He quickly activated all the suits and instructed Bailey and Justin to get into the suits and head outside. Captain Back protected them and kept the creature at bay while they prepared to leave. Bailey and Justin successfully donned their suits and made their way outside. However, as Captain Back was also trying to exit, his foot got caught. The now enormous creature arrived and attempted to grab Captain Back. Despite the danger, Captain Back managed to evade the creature and reach his suit. Captain Back quickly put on his suit and made his way outside. Before long, the base camp was destroyed by the auto-destruction mode, and the creature's blood spread throughout the water. Captain Back, Justin, and Bailey managed to reach the water surface and were overjoyed that they had survived and the creature had been killed. A rescue helicopter arrived shortly to pick them up. However, their movements attracted a swarm of sharks, which began attacking them, leaving them with no chance to escape. Just as the sharks were about to devour them, the sound of the helicopter scared the sharks away. The real threat, however, was not the sharks but a much larger and more dangerous creature that had combined various animals into its body. This creature attacked Justin, catching him and dragging him under the water. Bailey was transferred to the rescue helicopter, but Captain Back jumped back into the water to save Justin. Unfortunately, the creature had already killed Justin and pulled him underwater. Captain Back had no choice but to return to the helicopter, realizing that fighting the creature was futile and that it could survive even a massive explosion. The creature, if it continued to combine marine animals into its body, would become increasingly dangerous over time. Captain Back and Bailey were rescued and taken to a safe location. The terrifying story ends here.